We didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. Were absent, not received with the body. The anterior inner neck structures, neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration, and because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body.
And that's why they was holding the body for so damn long.
And he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head? Was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid bone, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body.
They took his throat out. Why? Because it probably was some markings on his throat. It's in, y'all. It is in. The NAACP and Benjamin Crump announced the independent autopsy. And what y'all about to hear, you are not gonna like, because we know they've been dancing, they've been holding this damn body. I don't mean to say damn, but they've been holding this body for a reason. Just so the body can decompose so they can't find the things that they need to find. They knew what the hell they was doing when they held the body, y'all. They knew what they was doing when they didn't come out and tell us about their investigation on the initial autopsy. But what they did find was a red discoloration on the back of Nolan Wells' head. And when they go down to the throat, why in the hell they removed his throat, y'all? Why the hell did they remove Nolan Wells' throat and keep it for themselves? But being though that the body was decomposing over this whole period of time after them holding it, they wasn't really able to do the full autopsy report the way they wanted to do it. But what he said is that they still can't rule out. They can't rule out foul play. They cannot rule it out. But I want to give a shout out to Benjamin Crump. I want to give a shout out, and my love goes to the family of Nolan Wells, the mother and the father, for being so strong during this period of time, y'all. Also, they got the pictures, and Benjamin Crump is going to be explaining everything that happened and why they ruled this undetermined. Check it out, y'all.
So, Dr.
It's the
Roger
autopsy
Mitchell,
report, y'all.
board certified forensic pathologist.
The independent autopsy report findings, y'all.
On the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. He conducted and presented this report on July 19th, 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation. And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. The manner of death, undetermined, pending investigation. Statement of examination. This forensic pathologist was retained to perform a second autopsy examination on the body of Nolan Xavier Wells. Name of decedent, Nolan Xavier Wells. Age 18 years old, race black, gender male, date of death unknown. Okay. Second autopsy date was performed on July 10th, 2026. Preliminary findings, and this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time.
Nah. Somebody done hit him in the back of the head. Somebody hit him in the back of the head. I ain't playing.
He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation. He said, coronal incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed as is common.
That's because they got the body from the first autopsy, and being as though that the first autopsy had to do all of that stuff, they didn't remove the they're not saying that they found the body with removed organs. They're saying that the first autopsy had to remove the organs to examine them and then get to the second autopsy.
Accompanied in the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they are dissected and examined. And then they are put back in a bag within inside the body. So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them.
If it's undetermined, if he was to drown, like they've been saying that he drowned, it wouldn't be nothing to determine if it was a drowning or not. We still ain't got no word from the first one.
But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well. Very significant for Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body. And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy. And we'll go into the paragraphs on that there because he explains it better in his narrative. He talks in the preliminary discussion opinion. This forensic pathologist identified several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination. What he's saying, because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body when he...
And that's why they was holding the body for so damn long. That's why. I'm telling you, they knew what they was doing, y'all.
Received it on the 10th of July.
And they probably put the body where as though that it could speed up the decomposing. So when they got it, they wouldn't be able to see. They knew what the hell they was doing, man.
For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic, dissection of the subcutaneous and deep soft tissue, dissection of the back, the buttocks, the arms, and legs. He did all of this to rule out things. He ruled out there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. This was very important because he wanted to be very thorough and very transparent, because transparency is the key to getting to the answers of why Nolan Wells is not with us.
I don't think we even need to be listening to an autopsy report before we get them damn phones from them boys and have them in a damn holding cell or something like that.
He says, however, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlaying the occipital bone.
Hitting the back of the head.
He talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head? And so he
hitting
was
the back of the
to
head. Hitting the back of the head.
Report. He said that etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that the finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissection were not performed. He said another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body.
Oh, so they
he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy.
They took his throat out. Why? Because it probably was some markings on his throat.
And so let's discuss that with what he said about that.
Why would you have to remove his throat and his neck and got a bruise on the back of his head?
It is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy.
Hell no, man. Nah.
He said, nevertheless,
this don't sit well with me.
Posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death. He said he would need to have the medical examiner in Mississippi allow him to review the throat.
And they not cooperating. That's why I told y'all stop voting for these damn people. Trump see what's going on. Everybody that y'all be voting for see what's going on, and they refuse to say something. That's why God told us to stop voting for these damn people. Y'all around here talking about the vote's important to vote. No, it's not. They see what the hell going on, and they still ain't saying shit.
He said his autopsy is undetermined pending investigation. Remember, it's about transparency. Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and the lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. He said it is very significant as to what the initial forensic scientists who got to review the body when it was recovered. We have heard from our call center people saying the body wasn't waterlogged. Well, we need to know those things. But unfortunately, because the body was decomposed and the organs have already been dissected, those are things we can only get from the initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation. We are hopeful that the Mississippi Medical Examiner would give Dr. Mitchell an opportunity to see their photographs.
They not.
And their observations
They not.
to the condition of Nolan Wells' body closer in time to July 4th. That is very important, and we have to continue to demand transparency, President Johnson.
Them people done held the body so long they couldn't do a real autopsy report. They couldn't do the real thing, y'all. It's some bullshit.
In addition, the original toxicology results have not been received at the time of this report, and we continue to wait for the toxicology to come back, because again, that will be part of the investigation into Nolan Wells' autopsy by Dr. Mitchell. It is significant to note that it's many things that go into toxicology that only Dr. Mitchell would be able to opine upon, and medical experts can opine upon. And he feels the proper place to do that is before a grand jury in a courtroom. And so we would hope that the district attorney would present Dr. Mitchell before the grand jury as well.
Man, I'm sick of
We want
this shit.
all relevant information to be heard by the grand jury. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water,
They had too much time to mess around with the body and cover things up, bruh.
in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This is the crux of the matter. This information is especially important for those deaths of persons who can swim. As in the case with Nolan Wells, at the time of this report, this forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water. He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death. He said definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand, he's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant.
Can't rule it out.
With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed. Number 3, was there water in the airway? Remember he talked about the lungs and the airways, were they filled with water? Number 4, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck at the time of the second autopsy. Number 5, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhage? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe. Number 6, was the composition of what was the composition of the stomach contents? He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors when you're trying to do a thorough and impartial autopsy. And number 7, what are the toxicology report findings? He said the best classification again for the cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells is undetermined pending investigation. This forensic pathologist reserves the right to review and incorporate additional forensic pathology information into his opinion as it becomes available. He says the above opinions are expressed to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell, July 19, 2026.
Well, there y'all have it. I believe they know what the hell they was doing. And for that brother to have red discoloration on the back of his head and they removed the throat, there's some things I want to say that I can't say on YouTube, but we know what I'm talking about. If anything got to do with a black person's throat or their neck in Mississippi. Understand what the hell they are saying, y'all, and alluding to. But what this does, it makes me more angrier. Because these people, they're in the medical field. They know what they can do to make it where as though somebody won't exceed in an investigation. But I will say this. The next month I hear say anything about a damn rip current or anything about a damn drowning, I'm snapping. I'm spazzing the fuck out. Seriously, man. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all hype this to get this findings out there in the algorithm so people can see what the hell is going on and who the hell we need to stay away from. Big Kish signing out. I'm going, y'all.